All right. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be able to give you all, finally, after a stretch of some deep frustration, some positive news, but most of all, some instruction as to how we move forward. As you all know, we just resolved the case that was stalling the card program. It was definitely a trying time for all of us, for the entire New York cannabis community. But the one thing that I have continued to remind the team here at OCM and to many of you licensees, whenever I get the chance to interact with you, is that this was always going to be a difficult and trying fight to make sure that we make good on the promise of the MRTA. And I'm so thankful for the tenacity that you all have demonstrated. But I'm also thankful for the fact that you all haven't stopped trying to become better advocates, both for yourselves and for the industry that we're building. You've spoken out. You've written to your elected officials, tried to get them to see how they could intervene and support your businesses getting open. And what that all does, it really galvanizes this community. It galvanizes this marketplace. So as a member of this community, I'm just incredibly appreciative of the work that's been done in the way that you all have continued to fight. And the OCM team, the folks behind the scenes here have done the same. And they've never stopped or slowed down. And so I want to thank them as well. So I'm going to start as we get going here today with a couple of really intentional conversations that we're going to start, right? The first is the reminder that you are all, every single card licensee that is a part of this program that has experienced the war on drugs, the disproportionate enforcement of marijuana prohibition. You are all history makers. You are all legendary, and I'm honored to be able to help you all move forward as you get your businesses operational. This is what we set out to do, to make sure that our market was defined and represented clearly the people who were most impacted by prohibition and the way that it was enforced here in the state of New York. And so today, as we move forward, a couple of hard truths for y'all. The first is that it is imperative that you get open as soon as possible. We are here to support you. The goal and the common question that we kept hearing, and a reminder of the goal, is that we need your businesses to succeed. You are one part of a lengthy supply chain. We have our small farmers on one side, our processors, and you. You are the ones who are interacting with the community. You are the representatives of New York cannabis, and I'm so excited to see the openings that we have coming up right away. But also the rest of you continue on this journey. When we met, as we issued these licenses, I came with the constant reminder, this is going to be a journey. This is going to be hard work. I've seen it. I've seen you all demonstrate it. So I have no doubt that you all can do it. And so I'm so excited to be able to say go once again. But it will continue. We will continue to have our challenges as you get your businesses open. To the dispensary operators, the card licensees who are currently running, they'll tell you it has been a challenge. But they're sticking to it, and we're seeing great success come from their commitment. And so there's going to be a lot of work ahead. We've got some great news in terms of your runway to get operational. We are, of course, extending the conditional window an additional year. For those of you who remember, in the regulations, there's a 12-month period during which you're supposed to go from that provisional licensing to final licensing. And so we're excited to be able to do that. But before we get to that and provide you some more details on that, I want to jump right in, and let's start talking about what is going to be required and necessary for you all to get your doors open. Securing operational approval. We, as I said, are very interested and committed in getting your businesses open as quickly as possible. The state is begging for more legal cannabis, for more quality product that's been grown by New Yorkers right here in New York. So we've got a couple of steps to go. If you have a location and it's ready to open, and you have been inspected, but you have been on pause from the injunction, the OCM will be sending your paperwork so that you can begin operations, start ordering product as soon as possible. If you are in the position where you've done all the things, you continue to get ready even during the injunction, we need you to contact us and let us know where you are. If you've not submitted the post-election application, we need that to trigger your inspection. And so we are asking you to provide to the office this necessary update of where you are in your business planning. And I want Pat McCage, the first deputy director, to hop on screen now as well to talk a little bit about that process. What are the things that are included in the post-election application for folks who have not yet gotten to that part? What can they look forward to, Pat, as they get ready for getting closer to beginning their operation?
No, yeah, thanks, Chris. Great question. And so I know many of you have completed that post-election application, which is great. As Chris alluded to, it really does kick off that final review on our side. There are licensing components related to that post-election application, and then also compliance components related to that application. On the licensing side, it's really more of the requirements that someone wouldn't have until they've secured a lease, they've secured that location. So we're looking at things like the notifications to the municipality, the proof of control over the location, your management staff, to have a contract with a POS vendor, and also making sure that some of the security and the exterior of the dispensary is taken care of. So once that post-election gets in, it'll trigger a review on the licensing side. The compliance team also then reaches out at the same time. They have their own list of requirements that they're looking for, and those are more related to the security aspects, the inventory management aspects. And what they'll do is they will schedule a pre-op phone call with you to go over these items, make sure you are indeed ready for an inspection, and then go ahead and schedule it once that's ready. The one thing I do want to highlight, because I'm sure many of you are very eager to get going, is a lot of people are in that stage of submitting that post-election application. So we are picking up where we left off, working through the queue in terms of where applications were submitted. Those of you who are in front of the court, we're starting with those, as those were kind of the first post-election applications we had on our side. And then we'll be just working our way down the list as expeditiously as possible to make sure we can get as many stores open as possible.
Thanks for that, Pat. And, it really is an interaction with the office, right? The team is working to get you open. So when they're reaching out with questions, with a deficiency for you to cure, we expect you to have, a quick response, because that is at this point, for this group of individuals, for this group of licensees that are at that stage, part of this is on you in terms of communicating with the office. For those who we know are ready for inspection, we'll be reaching out to you before the close of this week to schedule those inspections. But for those of you who are just not yet at that part, get your post-election application done, and let's get your site inspected so you can begin operation. So as we talk about operational approval for folks who are in a certain position in this process, we do need to talk about folks who are a little bit further behind, right? Our folks who had location protection. All of you understand the distancing requirements from schools and places of worship, as well as the distancing requirements from other operational dispensaries. I want to give you the hard truth today. When we set out to launch the CAURD program, the goal was to give you all a significant amount of runtime to get your businesses off the ground, to secure locations, and to get operational first. Due to the injunction, we are in a different place. But you all still do have licenses in what will be the greatest cannabis market in the country, but it requires you all to get open. And so we're in a different place a little bit, and that's okay. I know you all will still be successful with the right support, and that's what OCM is here to provide. So the way we're going to break this down is in a couple of stages. If you had location protection acknowledged from the office before the injunction was put in place, remember, the injunction paused the program. It did not close down what was already protected, but if you had location protection before then, your location that you had submitted an LOI for is still protected. However, We are now in a place, as we're getting ready to welcome more licensees to the market, where we need to get a true assessment of where your locations are. Have you secured that lease? Have you changed your mind and wanted to go a different direction in a different area? This comment here really is for those who had location protection before the injunction was put in place and are who have continued to pursue that location, have either secured that location. We need to know, right? We need the update. We need to understand where you were. For those of you who remember, we were checking in every 20 days to see if you were still making progress toward a lease. Now we are in a position where, due to the fact that we have other folks are out there actively looking for locations, we do need to see that you all are able to demonstrate site control. What does that mean? That means that you have a conditional lease in place, a lease in place, or a deed to a particular property that you want to operate on. So for folks who had location protection before the injunction, we need an update. We're going to reach out to you with an email via email to ask you to confirm that you're still pursuing the location that you had previously identified. And then we're going to give you a couple of days to secure that conditional lease related to that location to demonstrate site control. For folks who had a location and are no longer pursuing that location, we also need to be notified if that is the approach that you've taken. And we're sending further instructions about how to submit new locations that you're looking at. And I want to remind everybody, we created this provisional pathway so that folks would not have to come out of their pockets and commit to a location before getting licensed. We still have this pathway available, but we do need to see that you are able to maintain site control. So Pat, I want to just turn to you real quick just to talk about how the licensees can either submit the locations. I know before we were running a survey, can you just say a little bit about how they can make those submissions?
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who are familiar with the survey, we are in the process of updating it and hope to be sharing it very shortly. So we can then evaluate new locations as they come in. And as Chris alluded to, if you do have a lease right now, it is important that you do let us know. That way, we can start cataloging those, getting them in the system as we transition and start accepting new locations from provisional applicants who are still in that stage of looking around and are trying to find where the retail dispensary is going to be. Just to stress that point again, moving from kind of the LOI as an ability to get proximity protection, we are going to have an aspect of the survey called the location viability assessment. And that really is just a way for a CAURD applicant to submit a location, have it run for the schools, churches, proximity to other dispensaries, to let you know if it does work. But it will not guarantee proximity protection at this time, but it will let you know that for that moment in time that location works, to give you a little bit more assurance before you go ahead and lock down that conditional lease or lease deed, whatever it may be, to get proof of control over that location.
Thanks, Pat. And I just want to highlight the two changes here. Again, during the initial rollout, folks were able to secure location protection via an LOI. We have elevated that standard and do need to see, just again, because there's so many folks out looking for locations at this moment in time, and landlords are giving LOIs to multiple parties. We need a conditional lease. Or lease or deed in order to confirm that location proximity protection. So that's the first change. We're going from LOI, we need site control via those documents. The second is a reminder that the program was put on pause, which means if you previously had submitted an LOI to secure location proximity protection and you were approved for that protection from the office, that protection is still in place. But we need to know where you are with the securing of that property. All right. Anything else you'd add there on location protection, Pat?
I think you nailed it. Good.
All right. All right. And again, the office is going to be working quickly to turn around approvals, to notify you if locations work or don't work. We know that this is a difficult process. The goal as we go is to ensure that there is actual access across the state. But also that we don't have too much concentration of cannabis businesses in any particular neighborhood across the state. Let's go to the TDO question. Now we have, as it was clear that there was, delays in the rollout and of the issuance or the opening of retail locations, we allowed for folks to open these temporary delivery only locations. Uh, as was stated at the time, that was a year-long program. That program is coming to a close, but due to the injunction, we will approve temporary delivery only locations that have been in progress, in process over the last several months. What does that mean? That means if you've got a TDO that's been submitted to the office, if you've got a TDO that you've been waiting on, that you had location protection on, that you are, ready to run with, you need to let us know, and you need to submit that approval. Here's why. Uh, TDO licenses were only available for a year, unlike the normal retail license, which is a 2-year period. There will be no new TDO licenses issued after the close of this year, which means that if you have a current TDO, we will extend that operation until December of 2024. We are encouraging strongly licensees who may have been thinking about the pathway of finding a TDO to focus on finding their permanent retail location and not focus on the TDO. As from your retail location, you will be able to perform delivery services, but we are focused very specifically on getting more retail stores open, and that's where the office is committed. And so if you've got a TDO, it's been in process, you've been holding it, you've been trying to get approval, but stalled by the injunction, we will be approving that TDO before the close of this year. But that operation, including the operation of existing TDOs, is going to close at the close of that license, which would have been issued a year, which has been issued for a year at the start commencement of your operation. So we may issue a license on December 31st. The last day for that license is going to be December 31st, 2024. No TDOs will be able to operate beyond December 31st, 2024. Pat, anything you want to add there? I know we had a couple of TDOs in the queue before the program was paused. How quickly do you think we can get those approvals out?
No, yeah, absolutely. We are prioritizing those and working their way through the process. I will highlight it is very similar to opening a retail dispensary. Those of you who've at least submitted that application, it essentially asks for the same requirements. So it's not something that is that exponentially easier. It does require some significant investment, and I just want to highlight two pieces that Chris stated. And so one of them is, other people are looking for retail locations right now, including a bunch of CAURD applicants, and taking a longer time trying to find a TDO might hurt you in the long run when you're looking for a retail dispensary location throughout the state. So kind of wanted to reiterate that, and then also that every single retail dispensary has the ability to deliver. That's in our the cannabis law. This is not closing off that option of delivering or business model to consumers. That's always open to retail dispensary applicants in our program.
Awesome, thank you, Pat. We can move on to the next point relating to the provisional period extension. So I raised this earlier at the start of the call, but we are very much so understanding the impact that a 3-month, 115-day injunction can have on the momentum it's taking out of you all as you're getting your businesses operational. And acknowledging that, we are extending the window for you to get operational an additional year. Of course, we want everybody to get operational as fast as possible, but we understand that it does take time to get a business open, to go from license to concept to location to operations. And so we're going to continue to give you time to do that. At the close of the extended year, we will follow back up with you. You need to show that you're making progress and request additional time, or we will take the provisional license, which is what is in our rules, and you all should have been aware of. So we will let you know, but the goal is, we want to get everybody up and running as quickly as possible, but we understand that it does take time, so we're giving you a bit more time to do that. So in this pause, we did make also the request to our car licensees to apply for a general adult use application. We did not know, despite fervently defending the program, where the court or the judge would land. And so we wanted to ensure that we had our maximum opportunities available to us, which is why we instructed our car licensees to apply for a general license. Many of you have been in rooms with me, you've attended board meetings or the roadmap sessions when we talked about this, in deeper length, just trying to make sure we're making good on the promise and getting our justice involved, our car licensees open. And so we now that we've been able to resume the program, we'll be refunding the application fee to all car licensees who applied for a general license. We will be refunding that fee in full, whether you took the equity donation, the reduction in fee, or paid the full $1,000. We're sending that money back to you. Now, I do understand as well that there are some folks who want to take a chance in the lottery, despite having the card license in hand. And as you have also been told, at this time we are not issuing second licenses to our licensees. What that means is we will provide you with a choice if you want to stay in the random ordering process or hold on to and operationalize your card license. We are going to send a communication to you, and we are going to move in the direction of refunding everybody for the applications they applied for. But if you do want to change position and give it a go in the random ordering, we will keep your fee and instead work to revoke the card license. Now, I want to say a quick note about this. I know lots of questions on this one as we were asking folks to apply in the initial FAQ document. We have remained committed to making sure this market is diverse. And the card program, of course, the first of its kind, the first in the nation that prioritizes people with convictions, something that we're incredibly proud of, but we're also committed to you all. And so we just wanted to make sure that regardless of what happened with the program, that you all had a path forward. And that's why that direction was given, but also why now we're able and happy to be able to refund that and preserve space for additional justice-involved licensees, MWBEs, folks from CDIs to also participate in the market, which is why we're not issuing second licenses at this time. Pat, not too much here to say, but I guess maybe a timing of the communication, timing of potential refund.
Yeah, that should be coming out shortly. And just wanted to underscore a point. So, choosing to go the adult use route, it would be subject to all the, rules, regulations, and process that go with that. So that does include our essentially, lack of a better term, lottery process. So it's, even though you applied for adult use, it's not a guarantee that you're going to receive a license. So just really want to make sure everyone understands that if choosing to go the adult use route. And I think that's the main point I just wanted to make.
Thanks, Pat. So we can move on to the fund updates. Obviously this program was started and the state has continued to work to try to support licensees as much as possible through securing, developing, designing dispensaries that are turnkey for operators. We're thankful that we've seen some of these locations open up, but of course, as you all have heard me say, we're acknowledging that process has been difficult. But it is, again, reflective of the broader commitment of the state to do the hard thing and support folks as much as we possibly can. Now, you all know and knew from the beginning that have been, in this community and this conversation with us that we didn't have, endless funds for everybody. But now that we have been starting to gain revenue from sales and we're continuing to expand the market, we will have continued options and ways to support you all, our licensees. That being said, the fund is continuing its work. They did have locations secured that have not yet been matched. The process for matching is going to be the same as it was. The first 150 card, based on your scoring, were the ones who were eligible for that. We expanded the pool of CAURD initially from the 150 to 300 because we found that folks had some capital and were able to go and pursue those locations on their own, and so we wanted to stretch the money further. But it's still just been a difficult and slower process to provide these turnkey dispensaries and secure this real estate. Now, the commitment is still there. DASNY, our partners at DASNY, as well as the fund, will continue to work to secure locations, communicate with licensees, and support them as they get operational. But that's still going to continue kind of as a process that is quite deliberate. Pat, you want to add anything there? I know we've got a couple locations that need to be matched, but just in communications that you've had with the fund, or anything you want to add?
No, yeah, I mean, I think that's the most immediate one is there's a handful of leases that we'll be reaching out about, and same process as before. The top scoring CAURD applicants in each region will be getting an email. Let us know if you're interested in that location. The highest scoring applicant that indicates they're interested will then be matched with the fund to kind of begin negotiations on whether or not to sign the sublease. So it's similar to the processing the post-election applications, picking up where we left off pre-injunction.
Thank you. So as we get ready to go to some of your questions, I just want to recap and give a couple of details on some dates. We have, again, we're thrilled to be able to unpause this program and get folks going again. We are, around the office, the dispensary openings and seeing the faces of the entrepreneurs and their families as they launch, your faces is incredibly encouraging. And so we're excited to get back to those and seeing more New Yorkers have access to this safer tested product. But because of the delay in the program, we do have to still continue to treat all of our licensees and those that will come equally, which means that location protection, which we talked about earlier, will be provided to on a first come first serve basis, essentially as it was with you all, but just with a little bit more people in the mix. And so what does that mean? For us to first reset the locations that we had identified, we need to know where you were, if you have a location, as soon as possible. And we've set December 18th as the date where we want to drive folks to secure locations or notify us if you've already secured locations, so we can ensure that as we get ready for general licensing, we understand where locations have been identified across the state. And so December 18th is the date. If you have a conditional lease, if you have a lease that you executed during the injunction period, that is the date we need to see it, or you will be processed first come, first serve, as all of the additional licensees that we're getting ready to, as we're reviewing applications and getting ready to issue new licenses to those applying through the general license process. Reminding you that while CAURD was the first program trying to promote equity in New York cannabis, we still have a ton of other equity licensees that we need to create space for in this market. You all have your licenses. We're going to support you all as much as humanly possible to get you all open and operational. But we do have a broader principle to ensure that everybody has a fair go at getting operational. So we're going to be reviewing those in order received. But December 18th, great date to send in your lease, finish your post-selection application, and let us know that you're ready to move forward. Any other dates you want to highlight, Pat?
No, I think you did it. We missed your birthday, so we're good.
All good. Okay. So let's go to some questions. I'm going to skip questions that we talked about. I know folks have a lot of the same questions. The team appreciates all the questions that were submitted. And we're going to, as we do with everything, whenever we have an open process like this, we put together an FAQ and we get it out so that anybody who even wasn't in this room is still able to participate and to be informed. A lot of the gaps that we see in markets across the country is that lack of information, and the belief that folks need some lobbyists or somebody who knows somebody to get information. That's something that OCM has prided itself on making sure is not the case here in New York, both by our excessive presence in the community and the way that we try to reach you wherever you are. I think we're running right now on Twitter and LinkedIn, and as well as, of course, on Instagram and on the website. So we're trying to meet you where you're at. And of course, the same ask that I have for you all whenever we're talking in public. What you learn here, please go share. so that nobody else is lacking for information to make the best decisions and hopefully build some successful businesses. So let's go, Sierra, let's get some of these questions up. When will OCM begin to process card applications again? And how long is the proximity approval process? So these are two separate questions. I think we do have a couple of card licenses that were not issued before the injunction was put in place. We are going to be resuming those, issuing those in later in the first quarter of 2024. But at this time, we're focused on getting our existing provisional licensees open and up and running. Those who are waiting on responses, I think if you do have a deficiency, you should have heard from the office already. If not, we will make sure in the coming weeks to get in touch with folks who had submitted and who have deficiencies that are being cured. But I think for most of those folks, they have been in contact with the office. Is that accurate statement, Pat?
Yeah, for a handful, I will caveat, we are still working down the list coming out of the injunction. So, I mean, we were able to issue, 11 licenses on Monday, which is really exciting. And similarly, we're just going to keep working through that list of post-election applications that have come in and make our way down there. Like I said, you should be getting something from, it'll come from either AU licensing at ocm.newyork.gov or compliance at ocm.ny.gov. So those are really the two big emails that'll be reaching out, and just please be, responsive. The information we're asking for, it's all stuff on the website. And so, things like notification to municipality, super important that you're in touch with your locals and, getting on board with community boards and making sure you're doing that step. So I would encourage, folks to kick that off as well, understanding there's a little bit of a time because they have an ability to issue an opinion. So I would encourage folks to get that process out of the way as soon as they can as well.
Yeah, and Pat, we just answered two questions at the same time. So I was answering the initial card application, and you answered the post-election app. But either way, I think great information shared there. And then the proximity approval place, again, it's time on submission. So please get your locations in as soon as the survey is back open. We will send you all an email with the link so that you can start submitting those locations. We can go to the next question. For the card applicants, when will the card interest location survey portal be open? Where will the link live? We just said that, but it's coming. I believe early next week, Pat, does that sound about right? And again, you all will be able to submit as we were submitting before the injunction was in place.
Same place on the website. Yep.
Same place on the website. We go next one. What is the what is the process for card licensees without a prior location approval to obtain location approval? That is first, of course, confirming a location works with us through the survey, and you will be notified if that location works utilizing that survey. So I think it's generally the same process. I think the one thing again to highlight is that you do need to demonstrate site control now instead of just submitting the LOI. Again, that's demonstrated through a conditional lease, a lease, and or a deed. Next question. What's the deal with proximity protection for provisional card holders who are ready now? As I said, the program was on pause. If you had proximity protection and you move forward and secured that location, it's still protected in our system. And so you just need to notify us, submit your post-selection application as Pat was just speaking to, so that we have, we have it on record that you are moving forward with that location. But as of right now, everything that was protected before the injunction is still protected. The program's been on pause. It has not been shut down. So Pat, anything else you want to add there on process?
No, I think you nailed it.
Okay. All right. We talked about this. The second application fee paid by provisionally approved card, we're going to refund you. We'll work on getting those processed as soon as possible, and you will, of course, receive that email from us before the close of this week related to that second application fee. Next question. Pat, you want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So who is eligible for a DASNY location? Are locations still available under the fund? And so just like before, essentially, we're unpausing the program. The same process will exist. So if you're a nonprofit CAURD, you wouldn't be eligible for a fund location. But if you are not a nonprofit, you'll be able to be eligible for a CAURD location. Like I said, it'll go to the highest scoring CAURD applicant that expresses interest and isn't already open or operational. So be on the lookout. I think there's a couple matching emails that should be going out very shortly for a couple different regions. So I think that'll be good to get those matched, and then the fund will continue its work.
Thank you. Next question. With regards to regional caps, will OCM be issuing the remaining CAURD licenses for the region that were not fully filled in April? As I said, we're going to jump back into the CAURD initial CAURD application process in the first quarter, and we did specify, in order to meet the access requirements in the law, we did specify where folks were supposed to operate. We are working and providing some more flexibility to you all, so we'll communicate that shortly, just to make sure that folks who are having a hard time, I know our folks in Long Island have had a hard time trying to get open, trying to give you all some more flexibility, but we're working through that process still, so stay tuned on that one.
And just a quick add too, the caps we kind of got away with. It's whoever's eligible. So that's when we pick back up in the first quarter. It'll be under that same premise.
Yep. All right. Next question. Can we begin delivering from our retail location while we are under construction? If so, what must be completed in order for us to do that? So it's kind of a bifurcated question, and I want to split it up because I think it's important to be clear. First, and there are definitely folks who have TDOs either operational or soon to be operational that may become their permanent locations. That is fine. If you have an approved TDO or TDO is about to be approved and you're still doing construction in the space, as long as that operation was approved by the office, you should be good to continue those operations. Now, I think separately, I want to be clear about what we talked about with related to TDOs previously, and that is that we're not going to be approving further TDOs for operation, which means that your location needs to receive compliance's approval before beginning operations, before you get your tax number. We're going to have to do a site inspection, etc. Make sure you got all your security cameras, your storage spaces, etc. So two different tracks of this response. The first, TDOs, yes, will still continue, but we're not going to issue new TDO licenses. Separately, if you are looking to begin operations before your location is cleared, you will not be able to. You do need to make sure that you have all the operational checks, the compliance checks before you really get that tax number to start, doing sales and getting inventory. So I hope I split that up clearly. Pat, anything you want to clarify? Did I say anything wrong?
No, I think that was great. I mean, the one point I'll add is just obviously making sure all the compliance and security, worker safety things are met, and some of that is kind of case specific. Some construction's more intense than others, so it'll kind of come down to a case by case basis. So it'll just be unique.
Oh, so just that people could, in some respects, could get operational approval while some construction is going on. Yeah. But to be clear, that is approval to be a dispensary, not to continue as a TDO. If you're getting that approval after the close of this year. Next question. Fastest way to get site approval scheduled, best contact to schedule. Pat can give you the emails once again, but again, for site approvals, for site inspections, it is the post-selection application that we've talked about submitting, that you've secured municipal approval rather, that you've done all the things you need to do to operate through that post-selection application. We will then reach out, do a desk audit, then come in for the in-person inspection. And so, Pat, you can give them that contact number once again.
Yep. And so it's compliance at ocm.ny.gov. And as Chris said, yep, as the post-election application comes in, that's one of the triggering events to reach out, see where people are at, and then schedule that inspection when they're ready.
And reminder, we want you all open as soon as possible, which means, we are trying to make our way around the state, get your inspections ready, make sure that you're up to code, and give you the green light. That's the goal, right? We're in the job of starting new businesses and starting new businesses with the right folks, and that's who you all are. So we're excited to get you going. We want to move quickly, but a part of this is reaching out to us on that. Next question. I've spoken to this one already. Yes, we'll be reviewing some of the lingering eligible CAURD applicants to issue those licenses in the first quarter. Next question. All right. I think we're good. Okay. A lot of takeaways here. I know this is going to be posted. This is I think this is my second live with the team here, but I know David and John have been doing them. So you will definitely have this accessible to you on the website, as well as on our social media. We have a deep understanding and appreciation of the challenges that you all have faced, of the uncertainty that this injunction has caused. When you hear me and the team and the board talking about perseverance, we don't do so lightly, and we're not interested in you all persevering and not to be successful. Right? The commitment is your success. Otherwise, we wouldn't have done all of this work to get you all up and going and fight these fights that we've had to fight. We are very excited to get this program up and running again. Our supply chain needs you to be running, to be open, to be operational. As we transition into this part of the process, there will be more competition. We sought to give you all first mover advantage. The situation has changed, but you do still have a license in what will be a very consequential market for cannabis across the country. And so I'm just very excited for us to be able to pick this up. I know it's going to be a little bit difficult as we start to parse through some of these locations. But just know that we are treating our folks fairly. It's going to be first come, first serve. Some of you have made great progress during the injunction. Others have not, without and not at any fault of your own, which is why we're extending that window. We absolutely acknowledge the work that's been done. We appreciate, as I said, I appreciate immensely the advocacy. The team here has worked tirelessly and constantly to get past and get to this moment. So we're really excited. I'm just eager to get to your store openings. I want to see what you all can do with this opportunity that's being presented back to you. So you're looking for a couple of communications coming from the office in the next 5 or so days, and all of it is going to require you to take some action. So I'm asking you all to pay attention, stay close to those inboxes. The office will call, but we're gonna start with these emails and hope we can get some responses back from all of you and make sure that everybody's on the path to opening. Pat McCage has been an incredible leader for the office's operational work, and he really has made sure that this thing has kept moving. And so I want to also publicly thank and acknowledge his leadership and his work and his ability to navigate this difficult time and to make sure that you all are getting all the attention that you need in order to get open. So thank you, Pat. Thank you to the teams that you lead across the agency. I want to thank the team that's in the background right now, our comms team, our Office of General Counsel, our policy team, our external affairs team, everybody that's working right now to support this conversation, and that will be continuing to interact with you. We've been in every community across the state. We've been everywhere trying to educate, trying to provide as much information as possible so that gap between those who know and those who don't, and those who benefit from the opportunity and those who don't is smaller. And so we're going to continue that work. We're not going to stop. And I'm just thankful to be able to have this program up and running. But it only works if you work. It only works if you all are successful. And as I've said 100,000 times, your success is our success. We appreciate you immensely. And thank you so much for joining us.